McNasty Customz here. This is our dashboard kit, and we're going to go over a quick little video to show you what we have here, and we're going to give you a quick little installation here. What this kit will do is this kit will install a 2008 to 2012 Super Duty dashboard in any 99 to 07 Super Duty or Ford Excursion. So in 08 to 10, this will not work on the 13 and newer dashboards. This works for the 08 to 12 dashboards. So we'll have a quick overview of the parts right here. Real simple. This is the most important piece. This is your ductwork. This goes on top of your factory black heater box. So what you do in your truck is you completely remove your dash. You unbolt the main 5, 6, 7 bolts, undo your wiring, and take your dash out. Everything else, all your wiring, your heater duct, everything stays in the truck. This would be the first step. What you got here is you're going to get some aluminum tape. You're going to cut it into little strips, and you're going to seal the edge of your box. This box comes completely tack welded, so there's not really much to worry about, but this just seals it, makes it kind of nice. You can paint this, you can do whatever you want. You can paint it black. I mean, everything under the dash is never painted from Ford factory. This will show you how to put that on. This will be your column brackets. I'm going to show you how to do this. This is for your original column. So if you want to use, my kit is designed to use the original column out of your truck and your original gauge cluster out of your truck. You can use the newer column. If you choose to use it, you have to wire it. I don't have any instructions on how to wire it. I'm not responsible for people's wiring jobs. This kit is designed for your stock column. Your airbag works correctly. All your wiring plugs right in. There's no cutting, no splicing, nothing to shimmy or shake apart down the road. It's exactly the way it was supposed to be, and your airbag works. I also use the stock stock gauge cluster. There are people out there on the internet using newer style clusters that you take apart the back of your original cluster, you take apart the front of the 08 and up cluster, and you build a cluster. This is not easy. This is probably 60, 70 hours worth of wiring and work. There are people on the internet that have done it. You can see it on Instagram, you can see it on YouTube, but nobody's telling you how they're doing it. They're not showing you how to do it, and I don't think you realize how much work it actually is. All the lighting inside is LED lighting. Nothing is the way it's supposed to be working. The original cluster for the 08 to 12 works off the truck's computer. There is no way for that to work off of your truck that never ran it off the computer. So this kit is designed to use your original gauge cluster, use your original mileage, use all your dummy lights, so everything works exactly the way your truck has always worked. You don't have to worry about things not working. And down the road, if you want to upgrade, if you want to have somebody build you a cluster, or you want a cluster to be built for you, or you want to try it, whatever you want to do, you can upgrade down the road and you can have this easily plugged in and work. But for now, this kit is to get this dash into your truck in driving, and however you choose to upgrade down the road, that's up to you. But this is the kit. We don't sell any other pieces. This is what we sell. This is how this kit works. Also in the kit, you're going to have 2 fuse box brackets. This is for the automatic, and this is for the standard truck. The automatic goes up and down in between your computer and your brake pedal, and the standard goes across the bottom of your dash. You can use either one on an automatic, but you have to use this one on a standard. You cannot use this one on a standard. Then we have your 2 gauge cluster mounts. Very simple. They go up in here. We'll show you a little bit later where they go, they directly bolt in and bolt your cluster directly on. And we have a couple of filler panels for underneath your steering column. This one is for your panel over here if you choose to use that. I'll show you a couple different ways. We have a filler panel that goes in around the top and makes it seals up basically your cluster and makes it look factory. And you'll bend this up. This is what it'll look like when you're done. Real simple. This is an OBD2 bracket. This will relocate OBD2, so you just plug it in without having any hassles. You will have a little piece of trim that will go on the edge of this piece here, so it'll push against your gauge cluster and look nice. That's a black trim ring, a rubber ring on the end. You will also get some foam. You're going to want to put foam around the edges, just like the Ford would have it from the factory. And you're going to get a template right here, so you can trace the plastic and trim this piece out that I have marked with yellow. You're going to trim that out so it fits your gauge cluster. And that's the basic kit that you're going to receive in the mail. This is the dash down here. We just picked this dash off of Facebook. $50 I just paid for this dash out of an 08 F250. This is a complete dash, and it came with the steering column and steering wheel for $50. I got the door panels for $50. So this is your original column and steering wheel. Here's the new one. We'll go over that real quick. And These dashes are very affordable now, very simple to get. I mean, you only really need my kit and a little bit of time to put this thing in, and you can be putting a new dash in your Excursion, you know, whatever you want to do, and it's going to look really good. So we'll be on to the next. Okay, so now another easy step we're going to go over is we're going to show you some of the tips and tricks that we can do, and there's basically no wiring to some of this. So this is your original style for the older trucks. This is going to be your style heater controls. They're square, and the new style are going to be round. So this right here, the heater style panel, is the same wiring, plug-in, all that as the old one. So this is out of a 05 to 07 Super Duty. So 05 to 07 Super Duty heater controls is what you're going to need. You just buy that, junkyard, whatever. You bolt it into this, it's going to be real tight. You squeeze it into the new front panel there, and that's all you need to do with that. There's no wiring, there's no trimming, there's no nothing. Everything will plug in and everything will work exactly the way it was supposed to. There's a little spot right here under the dash. Now I've done it my way, and it's any way you want. I took the bottom piece out. This is all 08. I took the bottom piece out of the 08, it's all one piece, and I trimmed the button panel off. So what you can do is you can do that, and then, it'll basically bolt right in from behind when you're done. If you choose not to do that, I supply you with a quick, simple little piece right here, a little filler. You can paint it whatever color you want to paint it. You can do whatever you want with it. And silicone it, hot glue it, something from the back. You can drill it and put a toggle switch in there. I don't know what anybody wants to do right here. So that's your filler panel. So that's the way to get away. That's a complete modification, more or less, of this. This automatic four-wheel drive button is out of the 99. You just basically unbolt it and slide it into the new panel. All these panels pop out. You can change them, anything you want. The cigarette lighter, I actually popped the actual cigarette lighter out of the original 99 truck. This is obviously the 08 to 10 panel piece, and I slid the actual cigarette lighter in, so there's no wire into that. You can swap all these pieces around. Obviously the four-wheel drive piece, if your truck has this, now that directly plugs in. There's another cigarette lighter down here. Whatever you want to do with whatever accessories you use. Some of these are just blanks. This truck doesn't, there's a blank right here, there's nothing. So it's up to you what you want to do. You can eliminate some of this stuff. Obviously, you want to try to line up the stuff, if you have traction control and so on, you want to try to wire the traction control buttons. But we can more or less have this entire panel, once you swap this stuff over, with zero wiring. This whole thing plugs in. Your radio is going to wire in just like your radio would wire in, and so on and so on. So there's no wiring involved with any of that. That was one of the panels. The second panel is going to be this bezel for the gauges. It comes like this. It's very simple. I'm going to give you the template. So this template you cut out, and you will have two pieces to the template just like this. It says on the template what to do. This is the driver's side top. This one you want to flip over, and you want to line these up. The dotted lines, line them up, and you want to tape this together. So when you're done, this will be your template. Just like that. Very simple. You flip it over, the dotted lines touch each other, you tape it together, that is your template. Then you take your template and you line it up with the front on both sides of the gauge cluster cover. It'll sit there, and you trace the back of it. Just like that. So everything you see with black and yellow on it, you're going to want to trim that off. So when you're done, it will look just like this one. So this is the two differences right here. You're trimming off all this black and yellow, and then you'll have a nice thin line in the back. Also on the template, it has two holes. You're going to want to drill the holes. One hole right there, one hole right there. So your finished product is like this. You'll see the drilled hole, tells you what size to drill the holes, and it'll be trimmed off in the back. So what you're going to do, more or less, is this just basically, you bend it around, and it bolts on. So when you're done with that, it'll be more or less looking like this piece right here. And there's your custom cover. And then you bolt that on with supplied bolts. That's exactly what it will look like. On the bottom, it's sealed up, everything's there. The last thing, so you're going to want to paint that whatever color you want to paint it. The last thing you're going to want to do with that is with the supplied kit, you're going to want to put your piece of edge on it all the way around, so when it touches your cluster, it doesn't have metal against plastic. It'll be, you know, very simple. This just slides on the edge all the way around, and this is more or less the finished piece of your bezel. That's all it is to putting that bezel on. That's all it is to trimming this front piece. And right now we're going to start showing you the install of the air box. So we're on to the next. Yeah, you tell me when to go. Okay, so where we are now is we're going to put the dash vent inside here. What you want to do is you want to remove your dash completely like you see inside this truck. You leave all of your wiring in the truck, and you leave all of your heater vent into the truck. This is it. You take the dash off of the truck exactly. This is exactly how you're going to want to pull the 08 or newer dash out of the truck. You're going to want to unbolt it from the door pillars, unbolt it from up top here, and there's one bolt down by the gas pedal, and that entire dash will come out of the truck. Just for a quick note, for a lot of people that have problems with it, there's two or three bolts here, two up top. Actually, there's two on this side, one here. There's two there. There's one down here by the gas pedal. But what a lot of people don't know is on the 08 and newer trucks, there's a bolt on the outside of the truck right here in this area coming through, holding the dash in. So you'll have all the bolts out of the dash, and the dash won't come out. There's a bolt right here from the side of the truck. You've got to get it in from the door area, and you unbolt it. It's a 10 millimeter bolt. You're going to use a 10 millimeter socket, and you're going to unbolt that one. That's how you get your dash out of the truck. That's just a tip for you guys. This is your ductwork. This is very simple to put on. You basically pull your wiring over. You're going to have, you know, everything out of the way. This is just your antenna and your air duct wiring, your air hoses. This box will sit directly on top exactly how you see it. There's going to be two bolt holes down the bottom, self-tappers you put in here. Two self-tappers right here on the middle, 1, 2, 1, 2 on the bottom, one here in the corner, and there's a hole right here allowing you to put a self-tapper through this hole in the bottom. So what you do is you put a self-tapper and you put whatever you're going to do, screwdriver, whatever, straight down through there, and you put it in. That will attach the box directly on. It kind of only fits in one position, so you don't really have much of a problem. And with the kit, you're going to get some foam. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put foam around all the edges, and more or less, you know, so this seals your box up. And that's the installation of the box. On to the next step. Okay, we're going to go over steering wheels and steering columns real quick. This is the 08 Super Duty steering column. This is the original 99 and up Super Duty steering column. This column on the 08 and 10, you cannot interchange steering wheels. You can't, you know, whatever you want to do, it's not as easy as everybody wants to seem to think. So this is what some of the tricks are going to be. So if you choose in this kit not to use my steering column brackets and wire this 08 column in, you can do that. That's whoever wants to wire it, that's your choice. I'm not responsible for that. I'm not responsible for wiring or telling you what wires are what. This is up to you. My kit is designed for you to put your original column in the truck. There is no wiring, there is no problems with airbags, there is no issues with any of that. So that's why we use the original column in this kit. A lot of people don't like the way the older steering wheel looks, so this is the trick fix for that. This newer style Super Duty column has a hexagon shaft. The old one has a round with splines. So you cannot use the newer Super Duty steering wheel on the older column. But what you can use is an 04 to 08 F-150 steering wheel. This is an 04 to 08 F-150 steering wheel, which looks very similar to the Super Duty wheel. And this directly bolts onto the old column. So this will slide onto that column. You're going to have a little bit of a difference in plastic. This one's square, that one's a little smaller. If you want to try to convert the covers over or do whatever you want to do, I mean, this is completely customizing this dash to fit in a truck that this dash was never supposed to be involved in. So you got to play a little bit back and forth to make things work for yourself. But my kit is designed to use this column so there's no wiring issues and your airbags work. This kit column can be put in. It's completely up to you. You have to wire it. It's your choice. So that's just some steering wheel ideas here, steering columns, and we're going to get into installing the dash. Okay guys, so we're going to go over the steering column now. Very simple. There's two ways of doing this. This is an unmolested 08 dash right here. So these are your original studs that hold your column on. If you're going to use the 08 to 10 column or 08 to 12 column, then you don't need to do any of this step here. You can skip this step. You directly bolt this column onto your dash, just like it, you know, obviously it came factory, and you're going to have to wire in the column, which is a lot of wires. Okay, so my kit doesn't do that. My kit comes with these brackets. These brackets are to put the old column onto the new dash. Very simple to do. Your first step you're going to want to do, and you're going to want to do this out of the truck, you're going to want to cut off all 4 of these factory studs. Just chop them, lob them right off. On the top of the stud is a very heavy-duty head bolt. You're going to want to either grind that off, cut it off, or you're going to want to drill straight through, however you want to do it. The idea here is this center bolt will go into this center hole and it will be held on. Very simple. The studs won't be there. Very simple. This is the front stud hole. This is the one you're going to have to drill. So once this bracket is bolted on, you're going to have to drill this one, and I supply you with these bolts to hold the column on. You drill this back one here, and this will also bolt this column on. And this very last one in the back here, you don't have to do anything with, because it just hangs down, and that's the back bolt for the rear for the column. So this is what it'll look like over here. This one's already cut off. So what we did is we cut off the 4 studs. We ground out the heads of the studs on the back side. This bolt, where the blue is, directly bolts on. So now you bolt your brackets right onto the column once you have the studs chopped. Then you want to drill the yellow ones, all 4 yellow ones, and the rear yellow one, once you drill it, just gets a nut and bolt just like the blue, and that is what holds the actual bracket onto the dash. The yellow one on the top is going to be the longer one. So this is also going to hold the bracket to the dash, but you're going to drill it through, and this is where the front of your column will bolt up. And the rears, you don't have to do anything for the rear. You just slide the bolt through and bolt the back of the column on. So there's nothing to do with the rears. So your column will slide over this. This will be the 2 front bolt holes for your column once you drill them. And this will be, down the very, very bottom will be the 2 back holes. And these 2 center holes here will just be attaching these 2 plates to your dash. That's pretty much all it is to installing these. You're going to want to do this. And while we're here, we might as well show you real quick. These are your gauge cluster brackets. This one just drops on. There's a stud here and a hole, and you just bolt it on. That's it. And same with this side. You just bolt it on, and it sits there. I might as well show you really quickly the gauge cluster. Very simple. We'll show you down the road a little bit also. The gauge cluster needs to be slightly trimmed right here on this upper lip. It's very flat, straight across. It's a plastic lip that rounds out. It's just a cover piece to this. You just want to trim it flat. That's what it'll look like. And it's very simple. It's just the plastic clear cover you want to trim off in a little tiny bit. That's it. Once you do that, this basically will slide into place. It's a little snug, pushes down. That's it. Your gauge cluster can be installed. I supply you with 4 self-tappers that go into these holes. It's the easiest way. I tried some different things with nut certs and holes, but there's no clearance back here. So this is the simplest way, is 4 self-tappers that go in there. But you can install all of this like this and get it ready for the dash install. You do all this outside the truck. The next we're going to go on, I'm going to show you how to install this dash into the truck. Okay, so now what you do is you lift your dash, you put it into place. It just slides over, sits on top of that new air duct that we gave you. There's 2 bolts in the side over there. There's 2 bolts in this side over here, and there's 1 under here at the gas pedal straight in. You can do whatever you want up here. I've installed a bunch of these dashes and haven't had any problems, but if you want to, I supply a few nut certs in the kit. If you want to mock that, drill it, put a nut cert, you can put a 10mm bolt in there. If you want to put a larger self-tapper through there in the top, I mean, you don't really have to touch those. Then you're going to want to fish all your wiring through. Real simple. You fish your wiring through here. This is for your vents, this is for your radio wiring, and everything's going to come up here. And you fish your cluster wires up through the back of the dash and up where your cluster's going to be. And next we're going to show you the install on the steering column and the fuse panels. So what we have here now is we have the dash, the fuse box plates. This is for the automatic, like I said before, and this is for the standard. On the standard one, this truck is a standard. On a standard one, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to take the bracket, you're going to bolt it on. It's going to bolt on like that. On the automatic, it would be bolted on like this. So for the automatic, the fuse box will go front and back in between your computer and your brake pedal. On the standard, it has to go across the front of the brake pedals. It's very simple where it goes. It's all bolted in. You more or less slide it up and under. Of course, it's going to give me trouble on the camera. All right, hold on. Very simple like that. And if you come up here and look, we can show you exactly what it looks like. There is your bracket, and it bolts right into the two holes like that, and that's what it will look like. Your fuse panel will go side to side underneath your column, above your panel, above your pedals, and if you go under the dash and look, you'll be able to see that you can very easily get to all your fuses, your relays, and everything you need to more or less change anything out on the side of the road. So the standard, it goes sideways, and there's all your fuses. And on the automatic, it'll go straight forward in between here. This is exactly where my hand is exactly where it'll go that way. You can use this on the automatic as well. You can put the fuse box, either panel on the fuse box on an automatic, so it doesn't matter. You can put it where you like it preference, but on a standard, it has to go across the front of the panels. So now we'll be on to the steering wheel installation. So here's a quick column install. More or less all you want to do is you want to take your column, line it up with your clevis in the back, jiggle it around. There it is, she's in. You're going to want to run, while it's down like this, you're going to run all your wiring into your top of your column and so on. I'm obviously not doing that for the video. And then all you need to do is line this up and bolt in your column. And when that's done, we will show you the next step. Okay, so now you have your column wired and obviously your column bolted on with these brackets. That's it, your column's in the truck. And originally earlier we put the two cluster pieces in. Basically you're going to come over here and you're going to wire the back of your cluster, plug your 3 plugs in, and then this will slide into place, more or less. And then you just put your bolts in. Your self-tappers will go in and hold your cluster in place. That's all there really is to the cluster. Well, whatever, you get the point. And now we're going to go on to the next bezel part. Okay, so next what we're going to install is we're going to install this shielding right here. More or less, you'll see exactly in a minute what it is. This is the piece that you're going to get. It will slide up and in there, and then you want to more or less bend it. Probably a 45. You're going to bend it for the amount that you want to bend it once you get a little bit further into the truck. And you'll have 2 supplied bolts, 1 on each side. The piece over here that has an outrigger piece, this goes to the driver's side. It fills in a little bit more over there. So like I said, this piece slides up in there. After you got your gauge cluster in, this piece slides in, bolts in. And the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you, this is the piece that we showed you earlier. We showed you how to bend it around, and this is what it will look like on your, when it's done. So you bend this piece around, you get it to where you want it to go, and you put your molding on the edge of it so the molding will touch the gauge cluster. And this piece pretty much pops into place once you are done. Obviously I don't have all this stuff snugged up. I'm just trying to do this real quick for the video here. Oh, see, this piece should have been off. And then this piece slips on over it. And more or less, it'll be sealed up against your gauge cluster right here. You see you have no gaps. This is your filler panel. Your cluster's in. Your wheel goes up and down. Nothing touches. This piece underneath, you can start to see it here, more or less. That's exactly where it goes for now. And give me a second and I'm going to show you a couple more things, and we're going to button up a couple more little small things. So like I said, we'll show you this a little bit down the road. So you're going to put your steering covers back on. You're going to have it all wired in. You put your 2 bolts here to get your top cluster in, top cluster cover in. Like I said, you're going to want to paint this whatever color you want. You want to do it gloss, you want to do it black, you want to do it the browns and the tans. I mean, there's multiple colors, so we don't offer it colored anyway. You paint whatever you want. And, you know, this piece down here will slip in after that. And so when you come down here and look straight in, you don't really see anything because the covers will be on over here. So you'll be all right. And then it goes back to saying what you wanted to do. This is the column and the kit that we're using. If you want to put the 04 to 08 F-150 wheel on it, it'll look like a Super Duty wheel. Now you're going to have some wiring over here. This on mine, so I didn't install on this dash, I don't know, 2 years ago I would say. And the only thing that needed to be wired on this entire truck was just this switch. That is it. Now you're gonna have to figure out on your own exactly what you have. Now some 05 to 07 trucks have the round button, the plug in the back. I'm told that you can use an F-150, like 04, 08 F-150 switch, which will push into your dash, but has the plug to the back of the SUPERDUTY. So there would be no wiring in certain year ones of these trucks. You can wire it in. I mean, I just try to get it as much not wired as possible, spliced and pinned. You can unpin all the wires and put them into the new plug. I mean, it's just headlights. It's very self-explanatory, more or less, with the demo. You got to play with stuff. You got to know, you know, you got to keep in mind that you're going to buy different year trucks, different year dashboards with all kinds of different year options. You got to play with this a little bit. This install kit is to get the dashboard into the truck, is what it is. I'm not Mr. Wiring Guru. I can't tell you what, the blue with the white wire. I'm not telling you any of that. This is designed so you don't almost splice any wiring. All your radio, all your heat controls with the 05 to 07 up control, all your vents, with the air, your cluster, your steering column, this airbag, and I'm not responsible for the passenger airbag. You can modify the factory older airbag into the truck, or you can unplug it and plug it in. It does do that. I am not responsible for the airbag in the passenger side. That's up to the installer to do. I have no responsibilities for that. I don't want to hear, oh, you know, I'm not responsible for your airbags. Look into what you're doing, or have a professional shop install it if you're worried about it. All of this is a plug-in to do in your driveway. You don't need to go to a shop. You don't need to pay some expensive bills to have the dash put in. This is the first time somebody's offered a kit to allow you to put this dash into the older truck. You can do it in your driveway with basic hand tools. The only other thing that I want to show you real quick under here is the OBD2 bracket under this dash. It's going to be really hard to see. I should have showed you before I put this rest of this together. But basically, there's where it goes. The OBD2 bracket bolts onto that bottom hole right there. It'll bolt on right there. There's the bracket. It bolts onto the floor bolt. That bolts the dash in. It bolts on, and it's got holes in it. You can zip tie some lines to it. You can do whatever you want to it. That's what you got there. Then you got your metal plate here, obviously. We showed you how to put two different ways of doing the dash right here. You can either put that flat piece that I supply with the kit in, or you can cut the plastic out and make that clean. The radio is going to be, whatever radio you put in there is going to be the same way. All the wiring, you don't touch for the radio. Obviously, you can have a double-din radio that you're going to put from your old truck into the new one. All you need is the mounting bracket. That is it. And then your column is all here, more or less. That's everything you're going to do is wire it up. Everything, your cruise control, your horns, your directionals, everything's going to work. That's how close the gauge cluster piece. I mean, obviously, like I said, it's not completely bolted in. Oh, that's not even really plugged in right now. But that's how close it looks on your gauges. There's the sides over there you can see. This kit was well thought out. I mean, you can see right there the bolt holding the piece on. I don't even have nuts holding them on. I'm just throwing this together real fast for an install. The side panel over here will clip in, obviously, and cover all this up. When you're done, your fuse box will be hanging underneath, and you can get to every single fuse. There won't be any issues with any of that. And more or less, this is exactly what you're going to need to install this dash in this truck. You really shouldn't have any other problems. Like I said, you know, the wiring is going to be up to you. This is to get the dash into the truck. All the vents flow equally, and so on. So, just so you know, more or less, this is a bracket kit. That is it. There's no dashboard. I really can't believe the amount of people already so far that have asked me that I'm selling a complete dash, all the controls, clusters, and so on, shipped to them for $369. It just can't happen, man. I can't even ship you the dash for that. You have to find your own dash, all your parts. This is the install kit, the ductwork, the bezels, the so on and so on. I'm working the best I can. I got it down to $369 shipped. That's pretty good. You guys paint your own color that you want, so that's why it doesn't come painted. And I'm going to give you all the hardware, everything you're going to need to install it. I give you the templates to trace the pieces out, and this is what it's all going to look like. You just take your time, and you'll be able to install it. This is the only thing on the market like this. And this is what you're going to do. So check out some more of the stuff, our front-end conversion kits for the SUPERDUTYs and so on. We got, you know, a bunch of different versions. And check out McNasty Customz, McNastyCustomz.com.